Hello, and welcome to the third episode of the Post-Production Podcast. Once again, on my right,
Michael Calley, director of Instinctive. That's all I have to my name.
how many times have you used that?
That's my thing. It's my thing.
And of course, we have Technical T on the left.
I'm back again for another episode.
Back again.
Not
Probably never going to leave.
Yeah, he's always sitting here.
We just came in and he was already there.
Yeah.
Last time was a JPEG for half the episode.
We've been sure that won't happen this time.
Like below if you enjoyed Twisted Face Tom.
Speaking of post-production,
Yes.
if you want to see this episode, uncut,
Mm-hmm.
all of the the pieces that can't be on YouTube, you can see it on patreon.com/ZeusWeusFilm. We've got quite a few things coming for the Patreon.
So far I've got a Discord.
Got Discord,
With Discord, everyone loves Discord.
3 people in it.
Three people on it, but we want to grow the community.
Yeah,
A
why?
whole 3.
We have this, uncensored, uncut. We have some other content when it comes to extra Hunter Files content
Oh, why?
coming through, which we'll talk about soon, when it comes to Hunter Files for this week. And we have some other things planned, but we actually want to make content for our Patreon, but we're wanting to make sure we have all this content sort of ironed out and have our schedule set, because that's what we're really trying to iron out, as you may have seen from the last 2 podcasts.
Oh.
We do have, you also get some behind the scenes looks at films we're working on, and
Mhm.
some behind the scenes stuff look at the content. But yeah, one of the main series we have planned for Patreon is a bit off. It'll be a way off, but I'm excited to get working on it. So
Mhm.
let's talk about. Well, we can't just talk about this week's content without first getting into the meat and potatoes. This week's Hunter Files.
Yes.
It's quite different from the first 2 in a lot of ways.
Yeah, so how I would describe it is, one of the things I actually thought would have been like hilarious in the actual episode, I don't know if it's out yet because we haven't actually edited yet, or Adam hasn't really.
Well, this is why I asked.
And then I said, I looked dead at the camera and said, if you believe Hunter Files is real in any sort of form and it's not parody, you're an idiot. Ironically,
Well, it could be real.
Ironically, in this episode, things actually got real in Hunter Files.
Got real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the episode is out now, obviously, so we can talk about it a bit more, what actually happened, what we were doing. Not in full detail, but release, like, just glossed overview to an extent.
Well, the gloss overview is the base is no longer a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So we have been looking into other weird phenomena going about, and we have found out about the O'Driscoll brothers, who are the most notorious serial killers in the area.
Mm-hmm.
But they were on they got the death penalty years ago. So we're going to their old house because people have heard their voices. Could it be their spirits roaming on their old house?
Probably.
Well, after what we saw was either that or there was something even worse.
Oh yeah, well, something was at the house.
There was like mooing. It was terrifying.
Yeah, so basically we brought a bit of new equipment. Because Adam had a short range radio, which could basically get signals from about. We done research on it afterwards. It was one that was about 6 foot, would be around.
It got signals from 6 foot away.
No. I mean, if you have like a meter,
6
6 foot
tall
radio,
antenna.
like 6 foot antenna,
Yeah, you
It
can
would be-
capture.
it would be like a 3 mile radius.
I think
Yeah.
we're talking for this one 1 mile to 2 miles.
Yeah, and as we went further up the space, because we didn't go into the forest, and the other ones have been in the forest. This one starts off with us going up a hill, but we get to a house, the O'Driscoll house, and it's really there that I would say
The radio.
it goes
picked up.
it goes from us filming our usual Hunter Files episode to, oh, this is actually scary.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
The property's vacant too.
yeah,
So
completely abandoned.
I'm not sure how radios work, but the radio went crazy when we got outside the house.
And there was no house.
So-
There was only one farm near us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and we could see where it was. This was basically a house and a back farmyard where there is no one around. There's no one in the area. So basically, and even the stuff we were picking up on the radio, which Adam, I'm sure you'll want to talk about at some point what we picked up.
Mm-hmm.
It was very strange what you're actually hearing.
Yeah. Some of it was like impossible to put together.
Yeah.
It was definitely ghostly.
On like a complete real note, we went in there with the intention of making a joke Hunt the Files episode.
Yeah,
that
we were taking the piss.
But what we ended up capturing was actually, we just kind of thought, no, this will just be it. We'll just do this. We bought like some stuff from Tesco earlier to make some things happen. I'm not spoiling just in case we reuse it later, but like we didn't even need any of that because we went there. The place was terrifying, and then what we got on that radio, like, I think I said it to you last night after we finished filming. I was like, coming along with the Ghost Finder 5000, also known as a radio, and a flashlight, and I was just looking. I was just like, this is something straight out of a horror movie. But then like I just froze up because it just clicked with me. I was like, but this isn't a horror film. I'm standing here and I'm actually hearing whatever the fuck this is.
Yeah. So like, basically one of the things that like made it terrifying was, to an extent, for us when we were filming it, is the place we had went to film the first two times, or the first time was with me, Alan and Michael. Me and Alan had been through many times, and so we kind of know the outlook of the forest we were in and how to get around it. The place we were in, only Alan had been to it. I never to, and it was like pitch black dark.
Yeah, it was daytime when you went to it last.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
And that was for a music video. This was for just it was weirdly, what's the word? Inhabited still. There were still things like we found shoes there. There was still there was a random monkey teddy. There was a ear.
Oh, that was devastating.
Not an actual ear, but like an ear, like plastic ear. Like it was from some sort of like it's not going to be a word, diagram. You know what I mean? Like mannequin type thing.
I thought it looked like like a fake Halloween one.
Oh, almost could be something like that. It's like a plastic ear. If you just looked at that, there were items there that were recent, and basically like kind of the conclusion is that either like abandoned places, it could have been junkies or all sorts, like it could have been anyone like drug users, or there could be someone living there. But the whole thing that we were going through last time we were going through the footage was, and Adam brought up one point, and me and Michael sort of looked at each other and he did, was, I'm not going to be editing this, and I'm going to look through the footage, and I'm going to see someone looking at us.
Yeah,
because that was the sort of idea that we got whenever we were there, was that there was someone else with us or around us at the.
It felt like it, and we went through the footage after. We were trying to find it pixel by pixel.
I'm not 100% convinced that there isn't something in that footage.
Yeah,
I think because I'm going to be editing it tonight, so I can go up tomorrow. But people watching it will have been up, for a day. But I'm fully expecting to go home, have all the footage in Premiere, going through frame by frame, and something's going to be there. Like I just. When you're being watched, and I felt like that the entire time.
Yeah, as soon as we entered the property, like, usually when you're doing that type of stuff, you would sort of, like, you would lower your voice. Obviously, I'm not going to do it for the podcast, but you'd lower your voice, kind of speak almost in, like, a whispery tone. We kind of went in with our, like, braggadocious, hunt the files attitudes of, we're going to make jokes, we're gonna have funny moments, and...
Yeah.
So we were in the house, and, like, at one point we were all just talking... Whenever, actually, no, it was before we entered the house, like, when we were walking up, it felt as if, like, oh, this is, like, completely fine. Like, it's just really dark and it's raining the entire time. I was holding an umbrella on the camera, obviously it doesn't get wet. But as we're walking up, I realised that you could see the house. I'm using the viewfinder, and I can't see the house yet. And that's when I was like, this is the first time I've seen a house where I can't see anything. And then as we entered the house, there was so many, like, enclosed spaces that you don't see, that are just like, there could be someone down there, there could be someone up them stairs, and it was just very creepy to be in. Like I both loved it and hated it, because I liked the adventure aspect of it.
Yeah, that's what made the house scary to me. Like, it was a massive house, but that it was so run down, and apparently there was a second floor. We didn't explore that.
Yeah.
There wasn't a way up or something like that. But
yeah, and also
it scares me to think that. Why would there be something there? And if there was, like, why are we here?
Yeah.
You know.
So then basically kind of speak, like, you don't hear it in the video, you hear once, Well, so there's 3 occasions we heard stuff. So basically, in the video, we go into the house at the start. So that's basically us going up the house. We're in the house, we kind of set up the radio, all that other sort of stuff. Then we leave the house and go into the backyard. Well, not backyard, but like it would be a yard area, but it's more of a farmyard area with like a couple extra like storage areas, like housing areas and stuff. We go back there, and that's when we really start noticing all this stuff. Where it's just very, the atmosphere is very creepy. Like all the stuff you see, it kind of looks as if it just doesn't look as if it's that long ago someone's been in here to an extent.
Yeah.
True.
And then 2, so we heard something hit a roof, which I thought was someone hitting tin roof. That was the first sort of thing that creeped us out, or something hitting some form of tin. Like, you know the sound if you throw something against tin.
I didn't even hear that one.
Yeah.
We're really back in the footage, I heard it.
Yeah. There's a second one where we thought we heard something like running about or moving in the house.
Oh, that's when
that was when we were outside. And then the
Yeah.
third one was, again, we heard the same thing, and that's when basically we decide, no, that sounds like that's something actually moving about.
Yeah.
So, like, you described, like, because we were all in the we were all in the same sort of idea when that happened. So what was your sort of, because like, you kind of led us through the entire thing and going first the entire time. So as you said before, like, it was also like a horror movie.
Yeah.
When you're in there, but then you realise, oh wait, I'm the main star of the horror movie. So how was that aspect of it?
Terrifying, because there's things that I noticed only when I was going through the footage. Now that I think about it, I'm like, that's actually more terrifying. Because like I said, I'd been at that place before to film a music video. So I go back here, and it's at night time. Some things are the same, some things have changed. I'm not sure if I remember the mattress being there, which is kind of alarming, but
Yeah.
do you remember the place? It was the last place we were where there was like the wee outhouse, and we heard the noise around the back, and we just thought, no, fuck it, and we left.
Yeah.
That was the only door that was locked.
Yeah.
So like, it's the whole house. Everything was open. Everything was falling apart. The garage outside, everything's open. The one place we heard something scuttling about, and then we thought, fuck it, let's leave. That door was the only closed and locked door on the entire property.
Yeah.
So that door was on the house, you said?
Do you remember?
It was like,
I know the back.
the yard.
Yeah, in the back of the yard, yeah.
Yeah, that we were outside that place, and I was like, oh, what's in here? And then we heard the noise, and we just thought, no, let's leave.
Yeah.
That was the only locked door. I don't know if it was locked.
And you tried it before and it was locked.
No, I don't know if it was locked, but it's like every other door's wide open or like it's
Yeah.
fallen off. That one's perfectly fine, and it's closed. And inside around the back is where we heard the noises, so it's like,
damn, yeah,
maybe that's where something is.
Yeah.
But like, like in the first 2 episodes of Hunt the Files, obviously the beast, we go running and stuff like that there. In this one, it's like you just see our faces just go like, and we just take off like a bullet. But like, it's not acting. We're actually trying to.
The footage really shows it.
Yeah, like
the fear.
So like the whole thing is like, that's what we want Hunt the Files to be, is like exploring a band of things, coming up with like stories we can sort of chase, the ideas we can sort of chase, and that's the way we like. The beast started off as like kind of almost like a prologue to it all. This one felt very much like a very like this is a full-on episode where we go to an abandoned place or like this with an actual set goal of exploring this place, and you'll be able to tell the difference between the first 2 episodes and this one, in my opinion, by a landslide.
I hope it's not always like this episode.
Yeah.
Because like,
Doesn't.
That was serious, man.
I think something like this every now and again to catch people off guard.
Yeah.
Would be like,
but it's not even planned for.
No.
So if it happens again, well, people know it's going to be genuine. We talk about it in the podcast.
Yeah.
But man, that was terrifying.
I guess that's just what we'll say in the podcast. You won't know what episodes is, set up to be something, or what episodes are we're actually like dealing with something.
Yeah. I hope the audience will be able to tell at some point.
Yeah, I hope they can tell.
But yeah. So that was our Hunt the Files episode for Hunt the Files episode 3, and Adam, run us through the rest of the week's content.
So, Hunt the Files. We're not going to spoil any more. Go watch it. That was yesterday. It's Thursday. Today is Friday. What was that?
Light making sound.
It's the beast. It's mad. So Monday we had the first proper episode that actually has a tutorial in it of ZeusWeusFilm school, and we done the how to operate a camera. It was not that hard to film. I thought for some reason filming a tutorial was going to be a pain, but I actually ended up having too much footage. But I ended up splitting it into 2 parts as well. So part 2 is coming on Monday. Part 1 is you have the camera, walk through all the accessories that come with it, how do you put them together. And then part 2 is going to be like the nitty gritty, like what does every button on the camera do, what do all the settings in the menu do, all that type of thing. So it'll be in 2 parts. Tuesday we had a very important episode to be on film, and that is drinking enough water.
Yes.
Which not enough people do. I didn't actually realise like there was actually 2 people that messaged me after that and was like, oh yeah, good advice, and I was just like, that was strange.
Yeah.
And then
well, even like last night before we went filming, we went film at like 10 p.m. Michael pulled up my house
Yeah.
to go start filming that. I had drunk 3 Red Bulls that day, and
3.
3 Red Bulls, yeah.
Bloody
I
hell.
thought you had 1.
You know, 3, and I was like,
How did I crash so hard?
Oh, I was crashing in the back of the car because I wanted to be sick as soon as I go in the car.
That was it, yeah.
But I would say for sure, yeah, drink water. Don't be like me.
God, Red Bull.
Don't be like me. Don't drink Red Bull.
I mean,
Where did this
Monster
come
is like better for you. Well, there's like white Monsters, Ultras.
God knows.
They're like energy drinks, but there's like none of the bad shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought Monsters just in general was just...
Oh, not the black Monsters. I'm talking about like.
Maybe I'm gonna call it one.
Great little cool on with the boys.
Premium lager moment. We're gonna talk about Rockshore.
With the Rockshore.
A local Irish lager.
Sponsor us. Please.
Please do,
Please.
honestly.
Please.
We're not buying this shit all the time.
So, drinking more water.
Yes. Very important. Just like the sleep episode, it's what I would call a primer. So there's no point paying attention to the other episodes that are coming in the future if you don't do this first, because you just won't get the full benefit. So get good sleep and drink plenty of water.
And then, technically today when we're filming this, but it is Wednesday's video.
Yes.
If we're going back from the podcast, so it was the We Talk About.
Oh, aye. And this time we were on not an M. Night Shyamalan film, but a film about M. Night Shyamalan. The Buried Secret of M. Night Shyamalan.
Yes, had a special guest this time, didn't we?
I don't know who that guy was.
Oh, it was
He
this
just
guy.
He just walked into my room and was like, can I be in the video? And I was like, sure.
I thought it was my channel.
It was the director of Instinctive, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I'm Michael Kelly and I'm the director of Instinctive, and I was in this video.
You're the director of Instinctive.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do you want to shake my hand too, or?
No, I'm not reaching that
Oh.
far.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh wait. So also on just to mention it quickly on film news. So this isn't a segue into any other part. I just want to mention this quickly. It wasn't even meant to be mentioned in this podcast, but I'm going to mention quickly. Filming for the movie Knock Knock is happening very soon. So hopefully you expect that towards maybe the end of Halloween / November time, maybe.
It'll be shot before Halloween, whether or not it'll be edited.
Edit and all that there.
Yeah, but
so
we've got solid dates in line.
Yeah, but we have solid filming dates now, so look forward to that. The first short film is actually going to be in the channel, filmed and
Can't
directed by Adam and Michael.
I mean, all my old short films are on, but...
Yeah, but I mean new, but I think the
yeah.
news just was filming like content
Yeah,
plan.
the reborn Zeus.
I would say Halloween, though I don't want to make a promise, but Halloween, I'll probably have a trailer for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about the final.
Yeah,
at least
release the
have a
trailer on Halloween.
Yeah.
Would be like cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is I just wanted to mention that quickly because I
Yeah.
realised that we didn't even have they planned in, but I thought it should be something that should be
Oh,
mentioned.
Mm.
This is obviously like the main thing I'm working on at the moment is
The meat and
not-
potatoes.
The meat and potatoes
Mhm.
of the channel. But yeah, so on Wednesday we were talking about The Buried Secret of M. Night Shyamalan, which, like I mentioned in the video, is probably the weirdest mockumentary I've ever seen,
Mhm.
because it's a mockumentary about M. Night Shyamalan as he's making The Village, and it's done like a behind the scenes documentary, but it's the film crew basically start to discover that there's something supernaturally wrong with like M. Night Shyamalan, and then they try to like go down that avenue instead, and like, no, we don't want to make our documentary about the village, we'll do it about this instead. And they start building towards this like thing that M. Night Shyamalan died when he was a kid. He like drowned and then came back to life later, but because of that he like can speak to ghosts.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So they kind of go in with the expectations of what they've heard. They're trying to get interviews with certain crew or cast that are working with M. Night on this film.
The village.
Yeah, the village. But they take away something much stranger, or something what they least expected, really. And in a way there is an M. Night twist at the end of this documentary.
Sort of.
They don't get what they want in the end, but they get something that's probably more beneficial or more interesting.
Like M. Night Shyamalan didn't have any. He didn't write it, didn't direct it. He's just an actor in it.
Yeah.
Technically, because he's not really. He's playing himself, but he's like playing an alternate version of himself. But it's weird. They interview some of the cast members from the village and stuff. But do you know who they interview in it? And you probably like if you've seen the thumbnail, you know this.
Yeah.
Do you know who's in it?
No.
Johnny Depp. He's never been in any of M. Night Shyamalan's films, but he's in this. And because apparently, like, they have this like subplot that Johnny Depp was originally going to be cast in Signs instead of Mel Gibson, and so they go and track him down. I don't actually know if that's true. I don't think it is, but they go and track him down. And it's just like, yeah. So can you tell us about him? And Johnny's like, oh yeah, he's weird. You know, he always would say things like, everyone has secrets. Life's boring without secrets. And then they interview Adrian Brody, who's in the village later in the film, and he says the exact same thing, and it's like, I don't even know.
Yeah.
When we were like,
well, that just sounds like Michael.
It's a secret. Okay. As we talked about in the We Talk About films about this documentary, it was almost like a cult circle. That's how I described it. These select amount of people that they have interviewed keep saying this particular phrase.
yeah.
So that's very strange, and I don't know.
I mean,
I don't know what to make of it.
I'm not gonna come out here and be like, oh man, it's like the greatest thing ever. And when we were looking up pictures of it just to get for the thumbnail, every like review site was basically saying, yeah, don't watch this, it's bad. Like, because it's very long. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes, something like that. There.
It's worth a rewatch because the first time we watched it, you know, it was hard to like keep attention on every aspect of it. It was so long, but I don't think every point of it was necessary.
Definitely not. It wasn't like you could probably easily cut half an hour out of that and it wouldn't make a difference.
Yeah,
but it's, I don't know. The way I sort of described it to Michael beforehand was like, if you're a fan of M. Night Shyamalan, you'll probably watch it and that'll keep your interest because it's like, oh, so what are they trying to talk about here? Oh, they're talking about this film and that. But if you either A, don't know who he is, or B, you know who he is but you just don't like him or his films, you're gonna hate this because it's like 2 and something hours of like just these film crews being like, guys, I think there's something weird going on with M. Night Shyamalan, we should check it out, guys. And it's just that for 2 hours, but it's like there is some things in it that I'm like, you should have cut that. Like there's one bit where they're at a train station and they interview this guy who's meant to be one of Shyamalan's childhood friends, and they say to him like, so we heard there was some disagreements behind the scenes. You know, Bruce Willis, he was in Sixth Sense, Unbreakable, but then Signs, he wasn't in that. Can you tell us about some behind the scenes beef? And it's like, why are you even asking that?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes people just hire different actors.
Yeah.
It was like this whole segment was like, you could have just cut that, and it was like, or as much as I love the scene where, like, you know, the kids like queuing up outside his house, I actually need to show you, it's such a meme.
Yeah.
Like they pull up outside M. Night Shyamalan's house and it's like, they're like, oh, so what are you doing here? Are you here to like meet him in person? And it's like all these like 15-year-old kids with their hoods pulled up, hands in their pockets. It's like, yeah, man, do you not know about Shyamalan? He's like,
they're treating him like a god or something. Yeah.
He's like, connected, bro. He's like connected to the other side, man. And it's like, what is that?
Yeah.
Write your essay about something else, man. Come on now.
Oh my god. But that's actually a pretty good segue to the main topic of this podcast.
Yeah, this week's podcast is about
Films.
It's about films, guys. What?
What the hell? This is this podcast.
This is about
Our favourite films.
yes,
Mhm.
our favourite films of all time. Our favourite film. We're all gonna pick one, and we'll
Okay.
talk about our own film.
We didn't want this to be the first episode, but I think we're a good episode time now to be.
No, the first one was Roughneck. That's about as much as the first one could handle.
Yeah, but that's what we were trying to figure out ideas for like different episodes we're going to talk
Yeah.
about, and this
Okay.
one it feels like the right sort of one to.
Yeah,
we
for
can
sure.
talk about our own films and our own tastes.
So we got
and
Knock
that.
Knock coming. Let's talk about some films, you know. We
Yeah.
got a hat full of movie names.
Mhm.
Whatever one you pick's your favourite. That'll work best, I think. Yeah,
Or you just go for a standard, we just pick our own film.
that works too. Okay,
So,
I can do that.
Adam, you go first.
Okay, I'll go first. As I was just talking about the buried secret of M. Night Shyamalan. Perfect segue. My favorite short film. My favorite film of all time. I don't actually know. I've always debated, is it Signs or is it Unbreakable?
Mm.
And lately I'm leaning more towards Signs
Mm.
because I don't know. There's just so many things about that film.
Well,
that I
like,
love.
since there's two, just give a brief explanation about Unbreakable as well. Since there's two.
Both M. Night films.
Both M. Night Shyamalan.
Both M.
films.
Night Shyamalan films. So Unbreakable is kind of like a superhero film in disguise.
Mhm.
It's the type of film that if it came out nowadays, because it was a lot of people didn't like it back when it came out. But if it came out nowadays, it'd probably be praised for doing something different
Mm.
because it's the most superhero film I've ever seen. I think.
Yeah, from watching it, definitely.
Yeah.
That's literally how I describe it.
It's basically the story is so it opens with the birth of Samuel Jackson's character, and straight away when he's born with all his arms and legs broken,
Mm.
which is obviously quite a rough
Horrific.
scene.
And what's his name in it?
Well, Elijah, but most people call him
Holm.
Glass.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, well, I think his full name in it is Elijah Prince,
Mm.
but he goes by Glass.
Right.
Or that's like his super villain name. So he's born, all his arms and his legs are broken, and then it like jumps forward like several years to Bruce Willis's character on the train,
Mm.
and he's like sitting like flirting with some girl, basically showing because he takes his. Remember the scene he takes his like ring off?
Mm.
So he's like obviously.
That was the opening scene,
Yeah,
wasn't it? Yeah.
him and his girl aren't going through good times.
Mm.
And then like the train crashes and he's the only person that survives,
Mm.
and not only that, but he doesn't have like a single like problem, like he's fine.
Mm.
The whole like concept of the film is basically through Samuel Jackson's eyes going, if I'm here and I'm like my bones break like glass and I'm like this fragile, couldn't there be someone on the other end of the spectrum that's like almost superhuman?
Yeah.
And that is Bruce Willis's character. I'll not like spoil too much of it because I actually do want to talk about it on like a future video. But that's Unbreakable. Signs is about family. A father, family. Oh, don't tell me that's what your favourite film's gonna be.
You'll see.
So about a family, father, his brother,
Mm.
and then like his two kids, because their wife recently passed away, and it's basically an alien invasion film that completely takes place just around that family,
Mm.
and then it's that's kind of the reason I'm drawn to it because, especially I like Mel Gibson's acting.
Yeah, I think Mel Gibson's actually really good in it.
It's probably my favorite role that he's. Well, I wouldn't say my favorite, but it's definitely like
It's a different role for him,
yeah.
especially in the time period as well.
And Joaquin Phoenix is really good in it as well.
Yeah.
And the obviously the two like child actors that plays kids, but it's apart from a few scenes that I'm sort of like, I don't know if I'd have done it that way sort of thing. Not that I would like, know, like, be on the same level. I just mean, like, those effects didn't age well, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they were fine back in 2002.
Mm.
But there's just so many reasons it's probably my favourite film. The soundtrack's amazing, cinematography's really good, the acting's really good, and I just like the idea of, like, seeing this global, like, alien invasion, but, like, you only see as much as, like, the family.
Yeah, like, one of the things I loved about the movie whenever I watched it, I think about a month or two ago, was the scene where they're watching the TV, and it takes you back to the idea of, like, during the Cold War, it was, like, the idea of, like, people sent the fact that they load the TV, seeing all this news, the news things first came out. Well, obviously nowadays, we can see anything like at one time on our phones.
Yeah.
When an alien invasion happens, one, you'll probably see it in the sky, but also, if it's happening in a part of the world, you'll just see it immediately. Whereas they're sitting down, watching the news constantly at their TV, because it's on. It's like that's all that's on the TV is stuff about that they're thing. And I thought that was a really cool aspect. Whenever they see, where is it in Mexico? They see the aliens in the news broadcast.
I think so.
It shows, like, different parts of the world, and Mexico's one of them. Yeah.
Mexico's the one where they actually see the alien. I'm pretty sure.
I think
when
that's
it walks past the alleyway, all the kids are, like,
that's
scared.
the same
I'm nearly sure that was Brazil.
It might have been Brazil. That's where I was thinking. It was either Brazil or it was Mexico.
But I think Mexico might be the is a city in Mexico they show whenever you see all the dots in the sky.
Yeah.
So I think that's two of the main places they talk about, and then they talk, like, the next day on the radio about how it was the Middle East were the first ones to find a way to fight back.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of do hear bits and pieces about this being, like, a global attack, but you only see what they see, so it kind of, like, homes it in. And then that scene where you have, like, the alien that walks out, that's the famous scene where, like, Joaquin Phoenix is, like, sitting in front of the TV and he's like, oh, you know, that thing. But, like, I like that scene because it's sort of like, especially back then, whenever you wouldn't have been used to seeing, you know, like, the global news, like you said, on your phone every day. Like, what would someone react like if a news broadcast actually did show you that, and that was, like, they were like, this is real.
Especially as like that was, like, the film's set, is it late 90s or early 2000s is it set?
I think it's just set when it came out in 2002.
Yeah, so you wouldn't really have had, like, well, mostly, like, we're from a small town in Northern Ireland. That town probably wouldn't have had the biggest amount of sort of, what would it be, scope outside of the town, if that makes sense. Like, you would have seen all the channels there from the cities and, like, BBC and stuff like that there, but it would be sort of, your local town community would be a lot more important.
Yeah.
Especially in this movie, I feel like you get this idea, like, the town is scared because it's literally a ghost town to an extent at some points, or, like, people like, is it the scene where they're getting pizza, or that might be because they see the guy, but you can see that the kids are scared because the whole thing is at the start of the movie, he starts noticing there's crop harvesters. Not crop harvesters, but like his crops are
the circles.
The circles are in the actually, like, the shapes are in his crops, and it's
they're simple people, and
like,
they live regular lifestyles working on a farm.
Yeah, it's like a simple.
For something
farm
that's
life.
outlandish to happen to them, it's, you know, out of their worlds and out of their understanding.
Yeah, it's like they don't have their phones. They'll be like, oh yeah, like, what's actually happening in the world, and what was like, no, they only see that through their TV as something. But until that happens, they're forced to basically be like, to basically, what is causing this? And the police don't know either in it, because how could the police know? They don't have drones or anything. They actually see from a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
Like, I would say it's a perfect movie for its time, like, area, like, when it's set, and that's one of the reasons why I love it, because it's one of the things I hate in. Sometimes I hate in certain, especially actually one thing I do have to say that I think science does brilliantly, and that's what I was going to reference to here, was one thing I hate in certain movies is, like, aliens come down and the insects start obliterating.
Yeah.
It really annoys me now whenever I see that in, like, movies where it's like an alien invasion. I like the way the science handles it, where it's like, it's almost the aliens scoping out Earth before they attack, and then the idea of, oh wait, they realise, it's a bit of a spoiler, it's uninhabitable for them.
Yeah.
That is one of the reasons why I love Signs as a film, is because it takes a twist on the alien invasion.
Yeah.
So
See, that's one thing that gets criticised a lot for, because when I said earlier that there's a few scenes I don't think age too well. They don't age awfully, but you ever watch a scene in like a horror film or something like that creeps you out so much that you actually get like the hairs on the back of your neck standing up?
yeah,
The scene where they first see the alien in the house, you know, when they think, oh, it's all over, and then he goes out and he pulls the TV in, and you see it in the TV's like the reflection of the TV. All that looks creepy. The bit where it zooms in on the alien, but it's like almost like a silhouette, like it's not in focus, you can't see it. That creeps me out because it's like it's hard to imagine what an alien would look like. So it goes with like the old sort of like almost like the grey man.
mm.
But like it's out of focus and it's almost like a shadowy silhouette, so it's like you can't.
It's always like uncanny.
Yeah, it's almost like you're not. It's the film's not allowing you to see the like ink clearly, until a minute later where it shows you the full CGI alien, and it's like, no, you shouldn't have done that. It looks kind of weird.
Yeah.
There's some of those CGI shots with the alien look really good, and then some
Usually when it's in shadows of the room, where they're not having to work so hard and making the CGI look great. There's darker spots.
There's one that does look good, that you can see the full alien in light, but it's because it's slightly out of focus. The camera's down here, right? And Mel Gibson's right in front of the camera. He's picking up like the wee girl, and then in the background you see the big thing standing there, all of it, and you see Joaquin Phoenix holding like the bat up to it. But it's because it's slightly out of focus because it's in the background, that sort of like obscures it. Like that seems really good. But the main criticism that Signs always gets is people saying, well, like, how come how stupid is it these aliens have the technology to like come to Earth, and like without realising that the Earth is like 80% water and they can't, like, water kills them. And it's like, I get it, like on a surface level you're like, actually that is kind of weird, they flew across the galaxy to come here only to be like, oh well, this planet's made of like a 90% like toxic substance. But it's like, I'm sure like
but like the idea I would think, like, sorry for cutting you off, but the idea I would think would be these aliens are coming here to harvest resources that aren't water. That would be the idea I would come for, and then they realize.
I think maybe they're coming back. Obviously, I didn't conclude with that.
Yeah, like.
But.
And they realized, oh wait, there's a harmful substance on this planet that harms us. These people are going to start using it against us.
Yeah.
We can't do this. It's not worth it them harvesting. That would be my sort of projection of what they would think.
Well, the sort of like parallel I like drew to it was sort of like, say like 100 or a couple hundred years ago, right? So humanity has the technical power to sail across the world. So we could sail to the Amazon rainforest. We have the technology to get us there, but like expeditions that go into the Amazon rainforest, especially a couple hundred years ago, they'll die. They'll either disease or by the creatures that we didn't know were in there. So it's like the type of thing that's like, a couple hundred years ago we had technology to get to the rainforest, but we would have died in there. Same thing here. It's like they have the technology to come to this planet. It's just maybe where they're from, there is no water. So it's when they get here they're like, oh, what's this? And then, oh, it kills us. So it's like, because that's what they say in the news broadcast at the end. It's like the Middle East found a primitive method to fighting them back. So it doesn't directly say it, but it essentially is saying that like they went out with super soakers and were like, spreading. That's basically what they're saying. They said primitive method. So it's like they're emptying water over them and stuff. Which the whole thing about water in it, that's how it tied into the buried secret of M. Night Shyamalan. Water, same as Unbreakable. That's the way it tied into that as well. Because remember we were like, oh, Unbreakable.
Water was his kryptonite or something like that.
Yeah, but anyway, the overarching meaning behind Signs is that there's no such thing as coincidences. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Like Mel Gibson's character's a priest, but he gives up on God whenever his wife's killed in the car crash. If that happens, he doesn't want to be a priest anymore. But everyone around him's telling him, no, you should still be one. You should still have faith, but he just can't see that. Then, like Joaquin Phoenix's character was like a,
pro baseball player
for the town, and then he wasn't able to go off to play. By him not being able to go off to play meant that, well, he did have a baseball bat lying around from the competitions he won, but he was also there to help his brother, because Mel Gibson's character wouldn't have survived without him. But he was there, and he also had the bat on the wall to be able to fight back. The wee girl has this like germ thing going on, where she like
has to wash her hands.
Yeah, she'll just washing her hands. She'll take a sip of water, set it down for a few seconds, and then be like, no, I need a new glass of water because that one's got germs in it. So there's all these glasses of water, scattered across the room.
Yeah.
And the wee boy, he has asthma, which means, he obviously his lungs lock up. All that comes together at the end because, well, there's glasses of water everywhere, and the aliens, it's like acid to them, so they're like, oh, here's all this ammunition, we can just like whack the water into it.
There's weapons that the humans have that can work against the aliens. Aliens found out that, they could take this kid's inhaler and kill him.
And then Joaquin Phoenix obviously has the baseball bat and the skill to sort of like, well, it doesn't take much, he swings, but like, but the wee boy, because the alien grabs him first, the alien like tries to poison him, but because he has asthma and he's having a panic attack, his lungs lock up, which means, yes, he can't breathe, but that also means the poison doesn't get into his system, which means, he survives ultimately. So it's like, it's kind of like the whole idea of the film is like, is there coincidences or does everything happen for a specific reason?
Yeah.
More in the situation at the end of that film, it was incidental. These are spoilers, of course, but skip.
Yeah, skip.
But like the water was in the right place at the right time. It spilled on the alien. Exactly. Obviously, they figured out it hurt the alien. Yeah. But it wasn't intentional. The bat, that was just sheer strength. It's not like they're outwitting the alien. I've said the alien was smarter to know, like, about the air.
Yeah.
It could read that the kid was troubled with breathing.
Yeah.
So to know what species is smarter and then what's outwitting what.
Yeah.
You could say that the aliens have gone, but who's to say they won't come back?
That's actually
more aliens.
The ending of Signs implies that they will.
Yeah.
The whole ending of Signs, I can't remember is it the wee boy, is it one of the news reporters, or is it someone else that basically says what's probably going to happen is once now that they've been beat, they're going to leave, figure out a method that they can circumvent the war and come back in 1,000 years. So it's kind of like a nice ending of, well, they don't have to deal with that, but it's also kind of like, yeah, but eventually someone will have to deal with it when they come back.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think I remember having a conversation with you a couple of months ago about this, but like the bit at the that whole climax scene where they're like fighting the alien, James Newton Howard's soundtrack in that bit, it's probably one of my favorite pieces of like films, the soundtrack ever.
It's a bit cloudy. What was the soundtrack like? Was it strings? Like, was it?
It was very like, how does it go? Like, it's the way they play it. Almost sometimes they have it drop out very much. Like there's a scene like especially when like they introduce the alien, but like, you don't know the alien's there.
Yeah.
And he picks up his glasses and then, he picks up his glasses. Is that right? If I can remember I'm trying to remember the movie like that and scene. But it's basically when he sees the alien through like the glass.
TV?
It's a TV.
Yeah.
That's it. He basically gets a reflection of the TV. There's like the music there is a very atmospheric, I would use a term. There's not anything really overly loud.
It's not melodic and it's not musical.
Yeah, it's very.
It pitches in and out for dramatic effect.
It's very atmospheric.
Yeah,
and it's just very well done.
On one note.
Yeah.
Do you know what's even weirder? Because I have the soundtrack for the film. That piece of music that plays whenever they spot the alien, and then they all start to piece together, well, hang on, there's all this stuff here we can use to fight back. That piece of music in the soundtrack is called The Hand of Fate. That's what that actual piece of music is called. So it's like, I don't know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
so that is your movie.
Who wants to go next?
That's Adam's recommendation.
Oh wow.
Go watch Signs.
Signs. Favourite movie ever.
So you can go second, I'll let you go second.
I was going to search up the cast of this film because I wanted to know the main characters.
Yeah, I'll look up the movie for you now.
Yeah. Oh, right. So the movie is, just like Adam, I have a couple of favourite films, but the one that comes to mind would be 10 Cloverfield Lane. So it's unlike any other Cloverfield film. They kind of all have aspects of aliens involved, but and aliens are painted as evil throughout. and
That was the one made in 2016, wasn't it?
yeah.
Okay.
I
Who's
know
the lead
John-
actor?
John Goodman's the main actor.
John Goodman.
Yeah, so
Somebody's saying
his
John
character is
Hamm,
called
I
his
don't know
character
what.
is called Howard.
Howard.
What's
So
the
John
name?
Goodman Howard.
What's the girl in it?
Mary Elizabeth plays Michelle.
So,
If you
Okay.
just want to see, I know,
Yeah.
So that's the cast there.
There's only 2 people that's in it most.
Yeah.
There's 2, but
3 mostly, but
yeah.
I think yeah. Anyway, go on.
But you don't see much. You think about what the word alien means, and it's like desolate and alone, maybe like a lonely planet, something that's unknown to us. And being alone, well, this woman gets kidnapped by the character John. What's he called?
Goodman.
Goodman plays. Takes her to this bunker, so she's away from civilization and anyone she knows. There's apparently an apocalypse happening, which she later figures out through radio
Yeah.
in the bunker. But this man says it's best for her to stay here. It's the safest option. But she feels that this man can't be trusted because she starts finding things out about him over the duration of the film that, you know, make her uneasy being in this bunker and locked away from anyone she actually knows. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's a stranger.
Yeah.
No matter if he's trying to save her or not. So she finds out that he, instead of trying to save her, had issues losing a daughter in the past and wanted his own, or wanted that relationship back. So he had something wrong with his brain, thinking this random woman could fill that void.
Yeah.
So that's pretty terrifying. You're locked in this bunker with this man, and he thinks you're something that you're not.
Yeah. Especially the idea is
Yeah.
like it's basically the choice between, well, are you going out into a world that's eviscerated or is being eviscerated, like still, and be harvested by aliens, or do you stay in this bunker and basically live a false life because of this person who is mentally ill due to trauma that's happened in their life?
That's exactly it.
It's not that they're harvest. It's not the air's toxic or something. He tells her that the air outside's completely toxic. Does that know that?
That was it. I think the alien invasion comes after the aliens drop this gas that makes the air toxic.
Yeah, okay.
I think that was it.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting because, you know, for like an alien sci-fi film, you don't see the aliens until the end.
Yeah, like that's another one where it's like it's done in a different way.
Yeah.
Because like this is the thing. That's kind of like what I was saying before. I was like, oh, you know, just gung ho straight down. This is blue up.
Battle Los Angeles.
Battle Los Angeles. That's the one I'm thinking of right
That's
there.
it.
Aaron Lockhart.
Because why are they evil? Why are they doing this?
Just guns. But like even if they are evil, it's
Yeah.
like one. This is a movie I'm not really a big fan of, but a movie that's about Alien Covenant. It's a dumb scene, but everyone remember. Adam especially is a massive Aliens fan. There's a scene where Michael Fassbender's Andrew Carter drops xenomorphs onto basically a alien world
Right.
that's inhabited by humanoid aliens, not humans, but like humanoid. And basically it's just xenomorphs just running through and just basically plaguing everything, killing everything. It's sort of that aspect where it's like, why would aliens just go and risk their lives going down to fight people? Why would they not just, if they have this high technology?
Unless they're advanced enough to know the benefits of taking out the human race,
Yeah.
inhabiting this planet.
Yeah.
They see into the future, they're more intelligent than us.
That's kind of why like signs, and also we should take a look for this. Like, they kind of find different ways to. The aliens are doing things that are actually smart, like dropping the gas and then going and taking the planet.
Yeah, like
Makes a
putting
lot
some
more
nuke
sense.
schemes.
Yeah. Oh.
I don't even want to get into that. Game over.
Game over.
But yeah, sci-fi.
Mm-hmm. So Cloverfield. Then so you were saying that's like one of your favorite films.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah. So what would another one be? Because Adam had two. So.
Oh, another one to talk about. I'll finish my thoughts on Cloverfield.
Yeah.
So,
that was fun.
yeah, the fact that she's in this bunker with this man, she finds out over time that he was the one that railed her off the road, and it's the reason she woke up in the bunker. She was kidnapped. She didn't know that at the start.
Yeah.
We're told by the man that there's a toxic gas. She doesn't believe it. She tries to escape. He brings her back and is angry at her. But we're introduced to a new character.
Yeah.
This like young male guy. He keeps slipping up and making the guy angry, and he loses his hand and kills him.
Yeah.
So this is the point where she knows that this man is truly off his nut.
Yeah.
And she has to get out of here, no matter if there's like aliens out there or gas that's toxic to the lungs. Like being stuck in here with this man is better than, or is worse than dying out there to a toxic gas or being killed by an alien.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the film makes you feel very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because sometimes there's people in your life that can be very like, confining and like, you don't get that freedom. So some people have experiences like that. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah, so it's like the main feeling point is like...
Exactly, yeah.
Like the idea, like, it's kind of what I always think, it's like... The idea of having to live in a bunker, having to live in such a tight space, you can't go outside. It's almost like 2 years ago in COVID.
Yeah.
When you're put in your own house and you're so, you're not having to live inside. It almost is that isolated, claustrophobic feeling where you just can't get out.
Yeah.
Because obviously humans, like, we're very much we're an adventuring creature. We want to go out into the world.
You're in the free world and you're put into this place that you didn't want to be.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of like being an animal at the zoo to an extent. It's like you're enclosed in this one space and you can't really do anything else, and that's your life.
In a way, yeah, the aliens are looking in. They're all hiding.
Yeah.
So,
another film. Let me think.
Well, if you want to, I have one of my films.
Yeah, we should talk about one of your ones, because I could. Yeah.
So, Adam's side, so you got Unbreakable, you got Signs, 2 Shyamalan films.
We'll just count them as well. Mostly Signs.
Got Michael of 10 Cloverfield. So mine is a movie that I actually watched not too long ago now. I'm mainly getting it up here just for the cast. Yeah. So, I just want to get that up.
The Minion movie.
I knew you were going to say that.
I bring up Minions too much.
You love those things.
I love them.
The reason I like this film is I'm a massive fan of World War II films. And it is not Saving Private Ryan, just for a first line. Great movie, but not that. So the movie I'm talking about is a 2014 war drama called Unbroken, which is, the cast is Jack O'Connell. The main 2 characters I'm going to mention the main 3 characters are Jack O'Connell and Domhnall Gleeson. Domhnall Gleeson you'll remember from, he's in many films. He was in Revenant. He plays the captain in Revenant. So he does. No, the search party captain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
He plays him and he also plays a character in Star Wars that no one's going to name because it's awful. But Jack O'Connell plays Louis Samperini, who was an Olympic sprinter. Goes off to... Basically gets the gold medal at the Berlin Games right before World War II. Joins the... Joins the US Air Force as a bomber pilot. Basically, the first part of the movie, the reason I love the movie is its pacing. Yeah. So, the first part of the movie, you're basically following him as a child. Like, he's always running. He becomes an Olympic sprinter. It goes from that to going for his life. Then you see him doing bombing runs in World War II with his crew. And you see the realistic idea of when they're up in the sky, they get attacked, obviously, like when they're going through. I think they have one safe landing. I think then it goes into a second one where basically their plane gets ripped to shreds. You basically see the actual real side of being a bomber crew member in World War II, which I find fascinating. And then it basically goes into a shipwreck movie where the plane basically crashes and there's 3 of them on the boat. And they stayed on the boat for 4 days, based on a true story as well. So they basically stayed on it for about a month. No, either 48 days or a month. I can't remember which one exactly. So basically it follows them on that's kind of like them on this inflatable and basically the life they have to go through, fishing and hunting. And there's a shark attack involved at that one of the points, which is pretty grim because the idea of you're on an inflatable, not on a boat, on an inflatable and a shark attack is terrifying. Then after that scene, you then witness one of the crew members die on the boat, which they basically had to cast him up into the water because he dies basically of dehydration and basically just sunstroke. things you usually like. You would see stuff like that in war movies, but I thought it's a very, very weird way to die in a war movie. If that makes sense. That's one of the reasons I find it fascinating to see that aspect of it goes from literally the piece that's also saying the piece on those segments of where it goes from the documentary. It's like, well, not documentary, but the timeline of his life, where it's like starts off starts off as a sprinter, bombing crew, and then a shipwreck. So they have to then like basically say farewell to their friends. The characters Louis and Phil being the cabin pilot by Domhnall, and Louis get found. They think, oh, this ship's going to save us. It turns out to be the Japanese vessel, Japanese Imperial Army, which obviously the US were at war with in World War II.
Yeah.
So not great at all. And then basically for the rest of the movie, it goes through the Japanese POW camp perspective as an American soldier, and obviously Louis being an Olympic sprinter. Once the Japanese officers knew about this, they basically, towards the end, I think, I tried to remember the guy's nickname, but let me see. I'm just going to look up here quick, because I know, who's he played by? Because I know he's played by Miyabi, he's a Japanese artist, or an actor. The character he plays, I know his first name is Matsushiro. His nickname is either, now I can't remember fully, it's either the owl, the stork, or the hawk. It's either one of the three. I'm thinking it's the stork, is why I remember. But it's because he walks around basically with a cane behind his back. And I thought the way he acts in the movie especially, as well as the guy Louis, is sort of epitomizes the idea of kind of... The whole thing at the end of the movie is meant to be, the story basically tries to make Louis out to be kind of not like a pariah figure, very much like almost like Messiah, where it's like Jesus on the cross. Yeah. He basically kind of, in a weird way, patronized Louis by trying to get him to do tasks, like, and the famous scene at the end of the film is basically him asking Louis to lift a steel ton beam, it's a steel beam that probably weighs about nearly a ton. Well, probably not a ton, but like around that. No, not around that, but like basically a heavy weight. I'm sorry, but basically a high weight. And the whole thing is he's malnourished, unfed, working in this coal shipyard at the very end of the movie, which is probably he basically does in front of him, and the face of the story then you can tell fear in his eyes at the very end, because he sees this person overcoming this, which is then foreshadowed afterwards with the end of World War II, like basically America winning.
Yeah. The
whole reason I love the film is you have the build up to that part, well, the build up before that, where it's till they get to the POW camps. The reason why I love that scene so much is you go through from Louis' point of view of getting tormented every single day, watching American soldiers getting tormented. And if anyone knows anything about World War II, Japanese torture is very brutal. And the treatment of their POWs, and any sort of POWs get treated awfully.
Yeah.
The Japanese torture is always seen as, in World War II especially, cruel. So, whenever you watch, and the way I feel so bad if I've actually got the nickname wrong, but I was going to keep calling him the stork. He basically comes across, and the level of arrogance and sort of almost evil enjoyment he gets out of torturing, and he basically walks around a cane and hits people with it for no reason, and he smiles while he does it. And the way he speaks, the way he talks, he always talks down to them. So to see in that final scene, he basically says to him, if you don't do this, if you don't lift this, I will shoot you here in front of all these people.
I've seen that scene. Yeah, that I didn't know that was the film.
That's the very end of the film. So basically, you watch him go through it. At the end, he's like, if you do not do this, I will shoot you. And basically, he does it. And looking toward me, because at this point, like, everything he had put the guy through, the guy had beat. So he's basically just like, I can't do any more.
Yeah.
And he can't shoot him because he's done the task. He'll basically be dishonoring. Because obviously Japanese soldiers at that time, yes, tortures, but a lot of them did go for the idea of honour.
Yeah.
Very much about kamikaze is a phrase they would use to honour themselves. I just see as a war movie where I always think would I watch it very much in the aspect of one of the movies I love as well, Hacksaw Ridge. It's always the idea where you're exploring it from a different angle. Is why I love certain movies, and it's why I love Unbroken so much, is because you never really see POW camps. You see them in some movies, but not in the way that I think Unbroken done it, which is why I personally absolutely loved it.
Is that scene, because I think I've seen it, is that scene at the end that you're talking about, the one where once he, like, you know, he lifts the beam, your Japanese soldier guy, says to him, he's like, you know, tell him, like, don't look at me, like, because he can't.
Yeah.
He runs and
so that was his whole thing, was basically, anytime a soldier looked at me, basically, you can't look at me. You're not the same as me. Don't look at me.
Yeah.
So that was the whole thing. Was you see at the end, and it goes from a look of, I'm better than you, to how is he doing this? It's feared, because like.
Yeah. And what's amazing is, you know, that's probably accurate to a degree. Probably put a good bit of research into that, and have, you know, got people on board that were in World War II. Yeah. Or were in those camps.
Yeah.
Well, like, to kind of express and make the filmmaking more true.
At the end of the movie, they actually show, because I'm not sure, I can't remember fully if Phil, the bomber captain, survives in the movie. Basically, they get took apart at one point. They get separated. But I remember at the end of the movie, it basically shows you all of them, like, they're basically what happened after that thing. And the whole thing about the Carter was like Stork / Oil / whatever his nickname was in the movie. He was actually, I think, he wasn't found for a certain amount of years after World War II, and was eventually brought to justice for war crimes. So, and then the guy, Louis, actually sent him a letter basically saying that he had forgiven him for anything that he had done, but never got a response. Which is kind of a weird thing to see at the end of the movie, after you watch this guy basically get kind of tormented and tortured. He turns around at the end of the movie, well, not the end of the movie, you don't see it in the movie, but it's basically stated that he sent a letter to this person, which I always just find fascinating, the idea of forgiving someone even after that much torment and hate.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's definitely, I would definitely say my favourite war movie, just slightly above my second favourite movie, which I'll probably talk about after Michael talks about his, so if Michael has his ready, or the second, probably my favourite war movie just above Hacksaw Ridge. I think Hacksaw Ridge is a fantastic movie, but I'll go into maybe another time. Yeah. But have you gone over movie ready, or?
I could do this now, yeah. Or we could do this segment next week, but I'll get into it. Motherless Brooklyn.
Oh, yes.
Oh, good film. Great soundtrack. What's the guy from, what's that band? He's called like Tom York. T-H-O-M. Probably Silent H, Tom York. But he is in a band and he made the soundtrack. And it's very jazzy and cool, and it, you know, makes you believe that this Edward Norton picture is really set in this old time New York. So that's a bad way of describing it. Right, so it's an Edward Norton film. It's a crime drama about, based on true events. There's so many characters in it, I don't remember everything. I know that's bad because I've watched it so many times. But what do you call the guy that shot someone? What do you call the guy that was
right?
Like
so I have the cast
the commissioner
up,
or something.
I have the cast up here. So if you remember faces, right? If you remember faces, better names. So
there's so many.
There is Edward Norton, who plays Little Esrog. There is Gugu Mbatha-Raw, who plays Laura Rose, who's the second main Carter. Alec Baldwin, who plays
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin.
He plays what?
Moses Randolph.
Wait, that's what you meant by what's the guy that shot someone? I thought you meant in the film.
No, he shot someone in real life. Anyway.
Oh God, I don't even catch that.
We're getting crazy. It was a headshot too, though, wasn't it? It was gun in the mouth, gruesome activity, let's be honest. But right, well, he's in this film. He's just throwing buildings around, building the city, knocking down slums. Black community's mad. So there's protests and there's activists in the black community trying to get him out of office because he's putting New York through this transition, setting it up for the future generation. So he's building the parks of New York, the bridges, and the slums of New York that were there before. He was commissioned are in the way of what he wants to achieve. So there's a lot of conflicts in this film, and Edward Norton's character, so he directs it and he was also in the film, plays a detective trying to find answers for this quest his boss was involved in, about Alec Baldwin's character and the slums and the black community trying to dissolve the situation. So he looks into it and he finds a lot of conclusions and reasons to why his boss was involved, and what led to his boss's demise in the end. He finds out his friends or one of his friends that was really close to him in this work deceived him in the end and was working for Alec Baldwin's character's side, whilst he was working more with the black community, and trying to find their justice. So the film actually ends and it doesn't conclude any justice. It just ends with him getting the information from why Alec Baldwin's character is doing these things, and that he'll never see eye to eye with anyone else because he's this like power hungry god in his own eyes. And that nothing will ever stop him. So the film concludes with him getting his way in the end. And it kind of tells that winners always win. And losers can try, but
whoever has the power eventually wins in the end.
If you're someone with this power hungry, you're always going to find a way to succeed over any situation. And it's sad because he was tearing down people's homes in the film. And what are they to do?
Fun fact about it as well, also based on the true story.
It was.
Alec Baldwin's character is loosely based on a man that basically ran New York City from the 1930s to the 60s and done that very thing. So it's it's based on a true.
Literally, the mayor of New York worked for him pretty much.
For 30 odd years.
He built New York today.
And it's scary to think that the side of people love so much nowadays, and there's so many shows are filming sitcoms and stuff out there. Was built upon. Parts of it were built upon the idea of these slums getting taken down, or the access to and certain things built upon that. It's very scary. So that was my favorite. So my one I mentioned earlier is The Revenant, featuring Leonardo DiCaprio. I think it's, in my opinion, my favourite Leo role in terms of his actual acting. The movie starts off, because this movie's very fresh in my head. I actually watched it again recently, so it's very fresh in my head. The movie starts off, which I would probably describe as one of my favourite shots and best time period fighting scenes.
It was a one shot.
It was one shot, and the way it does it is it's basically I forget if they are basically gold mine runners or there's some sort of form of they're running something through the country, but some sort of supplies. But basically you get attacked by Native
a tribe
Native
of
Americans. So they
Yes.
tribe of the little tribe of Native Americans, and it's the way it's shot and how realistic it looks. It was almost frightening to me the first time I saw it. It's very, very gruesome, very just.
Hatchets going into chests.
It's
heads and body parts getting ripped off.
It's whenever you see the first arrow and the surprise of it, and it all just starts. It all just kicks off from the start. And from that sets the tone for the movie, in my opinion, of how gritty and realistic it is. For that time period. Well, not time period, but in that time period. The they basically escape that scene and the Native Americans are tried, which is important later on in the movie, and Leonardo's character has a son that is, I'm nice and sure is partly native. I think that is, like, him and his son are partly native. I don't know if that's
I don't think he's partly native. I think he's fully native.
Fully
I think
native.
it's a case of we found that kid.
Yeah.
From memory.
Yeah.
Was it? No, it was that he got with like a native woman.
Yeah.
And then the son was half caste, but he didn't want to tell him that.
It was someone on it,
Was
but I
it
remember
that?
his son being somewhat Native American, because that's basically what Tom Hardy's character, John Fitzgerald, hates about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so his son, who's called Hawk in this, like, in the movie, they're basically the whole thing, they're meant to be the trackers of the group.
Yeah.
So they're just meant to go ahead. At one point, Hugh Glass, Leo's character, goes ahead. They're all stuck, but they're trying to figure out which path's best for them to get away from the Indians, because they went on a river at first to get away. They basically park up there in these kind of sort of like rocky mountain forest areas. They're trying to figure out, how do we get to where we need to go fastest, but get away from these guys, like safest and fastest, but away from these guys. Hugh goes on ahead to basically find out. He gets attacked by a bear, which is a famous scene in the movie.
Mm.
Very realistic, gritty, scary scene.
Amazing CGI.
It's amazing. It's so...
CGI's done great.
And the thing is, that movie was made in 2016. No, it says here 2015. It was released in 2016. It was made in 2015. I would still say that is probably the most realistic scene I've ever seen with a wildlife creature in a fight.
Yeah.
To me.
The way the camera work was done was amazing. It was just going around the bear and there was an attack happening.
Yeah, it was so... It's such a well-paced, like, fight as well. It's not like Jason Bourne Identity, where it's like constant cuts here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty much trying to make you feel like you're in, like, watching, like, this.
Yeah.
That you're
Yeah,
part of.
You
invisible
feel the
filmmaking.
intensity and the
It's
atmosphere
uncomfortable.
of that, and that's what, like. So those two scenes, I was just glued to them whenever I was watching it. I remember I was being glued. I was like, while this is happening, John Fitzgerald, Tom Hardy's character, kills Hawk. Basically, the rest of the group basically go on at one point, because I forget why. As they don't know where Hughes went. Oh no, Hughes got. They basically find Hugh hurt.
Yeah.
Sorry for lack of memory here. Hugh got hurt. They basically try to patch him up. The rest of the people don't want to patch him up. So Hawk wants to stay with his father, obviously. And John and Will Poulter's character, Jim Bridger, he's still learning the ropes.
Yeah.
He doesn't really, he's a good kid in the movie, but he's sort of misguided at one point. And those three stay with Hugh. Tom Hardy, John Fitzgerald, who's meant to be rugged, hates Native Americans, hates the idea of, like, wasting time, just wants to get the job done, wants to get his money, very focused on himself, and is very selfish. He just wants to kill Hugh and his son, basically, so they can catch up the rest of the group, just get their money and just live well. Obviously, Hawk doesn't want that, so Hawk goes to defend his father when John goes to kill him. Hawk then gets killed accidentally by John, but it's kind of already shown in the movie that he was planning to do it anyway.
Yeah.
So you then go for this thing of, well, shit, they just killed Hugh's son. They think Hugh's gonna die, so they just leave him. Just dying by frost, which is probably one of the worst ways to die in my opinion. And John and Jim basically they basically leave off to go catch up with the rest of the group, with Will Poulter's character Jim feeling a bit strange. He doesn't really know how to react, but his whole thing is, well, I'm with this guy, I don't want to get on the wrong side of him, but he is sort of like, what the man, like, what is this, like, why do you do that?
What do you mean?
The whole movie then turns into a revenge story with Leo's character Hugh tracking down the caravan group. I wouldn't call them caravan group. It'll be more of I'll just call them, what would the word be, like, what would a battalion would it be? But basically I'll call it detachment.
Yeah.
Basically detachment of, like, soldiers mixed in with, like, basically guarding his caravan. and you basically see things throughout the movie of, you see cruelty, you see all sorts of different things throughout, which just for the time period, like the realistic, like survival sort of elements of it are so good. The cruel but realistic elements of that time period are so good.
Yeah.
Like the scene where there's a scene where he gets into a horse. If people remember that, I don't know if it's a horse, but if it's either a horse or some sort of like, or like an elk, and he like basically gets into its carcass to stay alive.
Yeah.
And that is a thing that you would have done back then, or even do now if you had to. But it's so great in how disgusting it is. But the movie, I think, just for everything it does everything so well. Like, from start to finish, it doesn't have a single bad scene, like, throughout for me. Like, because usually sometimes where I'm like, oh, maybe this bit could have been taken out. Maybe they could have took out this scene. Maybe this is a bit paced too slowly, but I thought it was absolutely
Very
perfect.
real, yeah.
Yeah. So, that was my second favourite movie.
Very nice.
I mean, both. I don't think there's any films that like any of us have spoken about that we wouldn't also consider really, really good.
Yeah.
Because like I love The Revenant. I remember like the first time I watched it, I was watching it with someone that was just sort of like on in the background, and then I was like, oh, I don't really care. And then within like 5 minutes, I was like, no, I'm paying attention to this. I need to see this film. Like it, and then obviously you may watch Motherless Brooklyn. That was you showing me it for the first time a few weeks ago, and I thought
you need to watch it too,
incredible.
Tom. It's really good.
Really
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch it, and I actually haven't watched 10 Cloverfield in a while, so I want to go watch it now.
Yeah.
We'll probably do another segment like that.
Probably.
Around Halloween, for our favourite horror films, which could be interesting.
Yeah, we'll watch one together.
Yeah.
We'll do something. We'll do something special for the Halloween podcast.
Yes, we do have plans for it.
Yes.
And also, I do. Not most of our favourites we've done that now. I want to do the movies we had the most fun with at some point, because there are some movies that I know are a lot of fun but aren't very good. So,
we can do the most fun, and then we'll also do a segment, some episode where it's like, well, we've had the best, our favourite movies. What's the worst movies we've ever seen?
Oh yeah, no, that's for sure. Yeah.
Oh god.
But I think this is a good time to wrap up. But first, Patreon again.
Patreon.
We're going to keep banging you over the head with this one. Michael said a lot of inexplicable things.
I swear you were best. Just forcing to do it.
Best.
Listen us.
Subscribe to Patreon. That's the word to use.
Yeah. So folks, if you can and you want to subscribe for more content on Patreon and also here, but Patreon, you'll get more exclusive content.
Yeah.
On
What's
that
the
page.
tiers? What are you paying for?
I don't think I've ever actually talked about the tiers in the video.
We'll do it at the end here then. It's just
Right, so it's 2 tiers in the ZeusWeusFilm Patreon. It's the £1 tier and the £5 tier. The £1 tier gets you into the ZeusWeusFilm Discord.
that sounds good.
Oh, it's amazing. It gets you in as a runner. You get access to most of the server, apart from 2 places, which I'll get into. Gets you in as a runner. It's a good place to network with other creatives, all 3 of them, and a chance to interact with us a wee bit.
But you can grow that community as well.
Oh yeah, it's going to grow, hopefully. And then it also gets you to look at some behind the scenes posts about films and stuff we're working on. And the £5 tier, that's the meat and potatoes. Forgot to mention, the £1 tier is called the Grindhouse. The £5 tier is the full ZeusWeusFilm experience. You
want that one?
You want to tell them today. You got the uncut episodes of the podcast. You got a new series we're starting soon. You got more behind the scenes looks, as in whole behind the scenes videos like the one from the Hunter Files, where it was like all of our outtakes and all that type of stuff.
You have to get that one, yeah.
And it also gets you into the Discord, but you get to pick whatever role you want. So writer, director, producer, actor, and the whole concept behind that is you'll join that server as the role that you do creatively, and then if someone in the server needs that role, you'll be on a list of people at that, and they can
Yeah, so individual channels for each role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that'll be a thing, and also it gets you access to 2 previously closed off parts of the server: the Director's Lounge, which will be in a wee bit,
Yes.
a bit to talk about, and an exclusive text chat, the cutting room floor, which will also be featured
Very
quite
nice.
a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and also get you Michael's OnlyFans.
Wait a minute, I didn't agree to this. I'm already making nothing.
You don't have to.
Well, on a serious note, like, I would say for anyone who actually wants to be in the field of creating videos or
Yeah.
because it's a great place to be, even if it's the £1 tier and you just get in. It's a great place to be if you're an editor, if you want to actually talk to creatives and talk to people who want to make films, want to actually get involved. It's a great way to do that, even if you're an actor or anything out there. Like, it's a great way to sort of get in contact with us if we need actors for more short films. It's the best £1 you'll spend of your life.
It's all the ZeusWeusFilm Discord server, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun place. I want to make it a fun place, but the key idea behind the Discord server is to build a platform that'll give you benefits.
Yeah.
That you'll
Exactly.
be able to network with other creative people, find people to help on projects, or just get advice further advice than you would get on ZeusWeusFilm School and Beyond Film, that type of thing.
And just have a good time.
And just have a
Sure.
That's the main, but that's what those content's for, just for a good time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Every weekend we're having a Discord party, cameras on.
Cameras on,
You
Discord
know,
party.
I'll be in the writer's block, getting jiggy with it, mate. Trust me.
So yeah, that's the Patreon, and that will also bring a close to this episode. So if you want to take it away.
So, we hope you enjoyed. If you're watching this and you want to comment down below what your favourite film is, leave it down there and I'll try and get back to you.
Leave it down below. Wait,
Also, leave a like, subscribe, and if you have people who maybe enjoy this content, get them involved too.
Give it a wee share.
share with your nan, share with your dad.
Share with everyone you know.
If it's a
Right.
broken household, just
Right.
get around.
We need to get Michael to bed. It's time to go.
Yeah.
I need my medicine.
We'll see you guys next week.